At 08:23 on August 13, 2025, the USS Higgins was conducting another routine patrol in the South China Sea when her spy radar painted something that would nearly start World War III. Beijing had sent a frigate to play pirate betting they could bully a nigh on 200-ton destroyer armed with 96 vertical launch cells. That's 96 different ways to end an argument at sea. But Beijing was about to learn why challenging the U.S. Navy in open water remains a spectacularly stupid idea. The Higgins, you see, a 505-foot steel titan, was doing its day job keeping the world's most important trade superhighway open for business. A highway carrying $3.4 trillion in trade every year, so Chinese factories could keep shipping their cheap electronics to Best Buy. It was predictable professional, the kind of conduct that separates a real navy from a floating militia. Then at 08:26, the problem appeared. A Chinese Type 054A frigate, the Liu Zhou, a ship barely half the size of the Higgins, suddenly accelerated from 18 to 25 knots. Her radio crackled to life with a demand that the Higgins leave the waters of Huangyan Island immediately. The funny part, Huangyan Island, or Scarborough Shoal, is 700 miles from China, but sits squarely in the Philippines' backyard. It was the geopolitical equivalent of your neighbor claiming your driveway is his because he can see it from his window. Then her Type 382 radar locked onto the Higgins. In naval warfare, this is one breath away from launching missiles, the electromagnetic equivalent of pointing a loaded gun at someone's face. Inside the Higgins Combat Information Center, the atmosphere wasn't panic. The ship's advanced SPY-1D radar painted a picture of the Liu Zhou so clear you could practically count the rust spots on her deck. On the Aegis display, the Chinese frigate's vector was a glowing red line screaming "Tactical Incompetence" all over the plot. The tactical action officer watched the display with the calm that comes from having 96 vertical launch cells loaded with enough firepower to turn any Chinese ship into fish food. The question hung in the air-conditioned quiet: was Liu Zhou's captain just arrogant, or was he genuinely this clueless? Either way, Beijing was about to get a very expensive education. Here's the problem for Liu Zhou's captain. He thought he was in a one-on-one standoff. In reality, he was a single, reckless driver on a superhighway packed with merchant traffic, all depending on the U.S. Navy to keep the peace. Within 50 miles, the Higgins sensors were tracking 46 commercial vessels, a Singapore-flagged container ship loaded with semiconductors, a South Korean LNG tanker worth $200 million. All would be at risk if Beijing succeeded in turning international waters into its personal swimming pool. And the reason that will never happen is because the Liu Zhou wasn't just challenging a ship, it was challenging a network. The brain of this operation is the Higgins Aegis Combat System, a digital fortress built around the legendary